what were your biggest takeaways from the Gonzaga tape?
Well, obviously we shot the ball well, and I thought we moved the ball well. Passing was good, but just honestly talking with Mark and I talked yesterday about where we were this time of year. You can never, I don't think, read too much into what happens other than you go back and you look at it where you have to improve. We've got to get a lot better defensively. I mean, our details with getting our hands up, being active, still too many blow-bys where we're not containing the ball the way we need to. But overall, I thought we had a good effort. I do. I think both teams played hard. I think it benefited both teams, and it was certainly a different environment. Something I'd like to see us be able to do more going forward. But there were some good things in it, and we just have to build on what we did the other night.
Earlier in the fall, I think you said Zakai had come to you saying he wants to continue to come off the bench. Why did y'all decide not to do that and start him?
Well, one, where we with Josiah being out, we were just trying to work with a rotation through these scrimmages, and we weren't sure exactly how we wanted to do it, and so we just felt like it'd be better to get the more experienced guys out there as much as we could to start with, and then start trying to build and see what happens. Which, if you go back and look to in the first scrimmage against Michigan State, Tyreek hadn't played in a year and a half. And we just felt maybe to him because he would have been the other way we would have gone at that time. Just giving him a chance to get a feel for it, and which I'm glad we did it that way because he didn't do much in the first half of that scrimmage because again he hadn't played in a year and a half, and I think just getting back out there, getting through the fact that he hadn't played took him a little while, but he did come back and play well in the second half of that scrimmage. But that's the reason we went with it, and we decided just to stay with it.
Expect Josiah on Monday, or
yeah, he will. We think so. He's going to do a little bit more today, and likely he'll play. And then now we'll just have to keep building him back up to get him ready.
How much will having Josiah back help that defensive effort that you talked about?
Well, Josiah has elite hands. I mean, he gets his hands on so many deflections. I mean, he's terrific, and his experience, there's no doubt he helps us with that. He's a fix-it kind of guy. When things break down, he and Santi and Zakai are really good fix-it guys. When things aren't exactly go the way you want them, they're able to talk through things, and they certainly do a great job coaching their teammates. But they'll fix the plays that need fixing.
Do you feel good with where you're at in terms of backup ball or point guard, somebody that can predominantly handle the ball when Zakai's not in there, or do you feel like that's still maybe a work in progress going into the year?
No, I think we're fine in terms of what we do. All year, all summer, all fall, we work with different guys handling the ball. And again, idealistically, we just want to get it down the floor as quick as we can and get into our offense. And we think we've got 3 or 4 guys that can facilitate that.
Can Julian bring the defensive versatility that Josiah does of guarding bigs and guards?
I think if Josiah would have been out there, I think it would have helped Julian a lot up to this point. And I think going forward, that'll be maybe one of the biggest improvements that we see from Julian, that he will get better, learn to continue to get better. I said it the other day, I mean, think about his first 2 outings in college basketball has been against Michigan State and Gonzaga, which is not an easy thing. There's no way you kind of wade into that. He was thrown right into it, and what you have to love about Julian, and we do as a staff, is the fact that he takes everything we tell him and he tries to fix it and work on it, and he'll be fine. But I do think Josiah getting back will help him some defensively.
What does Tyreek remind you of that you've coached before in terms of just the way that he moves around the floor, gets into the paint, and can do so many things offensively?
Well, I'm sure I'd have to think about it, but I'm sure we've had guys that can do things like that. But Tyreek, from the time that he got here, he's impressed us. First of all, with his character, who he is, but then he's an incredible work. I mean, his work ethic is second to none. So he blended right in with what we do here, and we watched him throughout the summer and fall. I mean, he can really get going, shoot the ball, and he's got deep range. But and then we just decided to tell him, hey man, you need to play a little bit of point here and see if you can do it, and he embraced it. But it's tough when you are out there going against Santi and Zakai at that position, but he embraced it, but we're not surprised because we've seen him do some of the things that he's done, that he did the other night. We've seen him get going in practice where he can really get it going.
how much of an adjustment was it for him to be vocal enough at point guard, just based on who he is?
He's
how
not.
quality he is?
He's not there yet. He's not there yet in terms of being as vocal as he needs to be. I thought he was really good. The best he was defensively really good against Gonzaga, doing some things that we hadn't seen. But he was flying around and doing some of those fix-it type plays, and more vocal than normal. That's something he will continue to get better with. He's going to have to continue to get better with, and again, the more comfortable he gets at understanding exactly what that position calls for, because it is the hardest position on the court to play for us offensively, but he'll get there, and because he's one of those guys. It's all about trying to figure out how can I get better, and you know, he dreams like everyone playing at the highest level, and for him to do that, he knows what he has to do daily to improve on his skills.
Where have you seen the most improvement from Olivia after all the summer ball that he was playing?
Well, I mean, I go back to January when he was playing great basketball for us a year ago, and before his injury, and then he missed a lot. And the fact that he got to go this summer, I think just play helped him, but it's totally different there and what we do here. And each day, I think he comes back, he's going to continue to get better. No one cares more than us. I mean, he loves it. He wants to do well. He wants to please. He wants to do the things the right way, but he'll work at it. I mean, he's going to continue to work at it. But I would say that not just him, but as a group, we all need to get better defensively, containing the ball. I think that's really important. And again, it's not just it's everybody to help us get where we want to go defensively. And because I do think we've got to improve on that end from a year ago. I think if we can learn to contain the ball, it's going to help our defensive rebounding. He works. I mean, he's going to give you the effort that you need every day to get where he needs to go.
What are some of the coaching challenges of having so much depth, especially going into the season opener Monday night?
There's no challenge of having depth. I mean, we're going to play the guys that should play. They play and they're consistent. Consistency will determine how much depth we use. I mean, we've had bodies in the past where I can say go back a year ago that we felt like we had depth, but the depth never showed any consistency. And so how many players we use will simply be based on who's going to show up and be consistent day in and day out. And when we put them in a game, can they do what we expect them to do day in and day out?
Coach, what are a couple of things you want to see in the opener that check some boxes and we want to get this done?
I think probably, again, as much as we practice and play execution, stand in the moment right now, understanding how valuable those 2 minutes, and then I would say cardio toughness. When guys get tired, some guys just go over the cliff and fall. I want to see guys that it's a gradual decline before we can get them out. I think that's important, and I do know we're a conditioned team, but the pace that we play, I think everyone can handle it. But the fact is, when you do get in those situations where you're moving up and down the court, maybe where the stoppage is what it would normally be, it can go for 2.5, 3 minutes. How many guys can do that without getting tired, fatigue, and like I said, just drop off the cliff? So again, cardio toughness is a big part of it. It's, again, to see how long we can play and sustain what we want to do, and see once we go to the bench if we can maintain it or even take it to another level. That's the one thing Zakai did for us a year ago. I think you all witnessed when he came in the game, it was just a different level. If he's the starter, we're going to need that from Tyreek, from Jemai Meshack. We're going to need that from those guys that come off the bench, that they can, again, not just hold the energy, but take it to another level.
Talk about guys needing to prove themselves with consistency. How much of that can you figure out in practice, and how much of that you should have to see them do in games?
Yeah, that's when I talk about consistency, it's not about making shots. It's about doing the right thing, making the right play, and staying in the role that we've talked about. And sometimes it's difficult for players, when a guy's used to maybe being with a group of guys where he might be looked at as a third, fourth, fifth option. All at once, if we're not careful with our substitution, you put in a position where he maybe feels he has to do too much. That's on us to stay away from that. But what we want to see with our substitutions and with our depth is, can they do exactly what we talked about, stay in the moment, and do the job that we need him to do.
Where is BJ Edwards in his development?
Getting better, he is getting better. He's, again, like any young freshman, understanding ball security, understanding defense, not giving up position for a steal. Again, BJ's one of those guys I think that does have good cardio conditioning, where he can toughness, where he can fight through fatigue. But it's just a matter, again, him learning the entire system and knowing what he needs to do when he goes out there. But he's competitive, and it's really helped him playing against Zakai and Santi, especially Zakai all summer. But I would say he's on pace where we need him to be, but he's going to have to keep grinding.
I think Roche can get any minutes at backup point guard based on those drives against Gonzaga.
Well, I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid yet, you know. but you know, Roche is a facilitator. He's good out there when he's not too casual with it, and we're using those post guys once we get into our flow game to help facilitate and let our guards start cutting and moving. But he's good at it, and as long as he doesn't get too careless, you know, we like him to have the ball out there.
Take one more for guys. All right, Coach.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.